Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone, for joining us for the CSU Application Series. Um, this is brought to you by your counseling department here, Ms. Flores, which I'm over here in the spaceship, and Ms. Vargas and Ms. Saldaña up here. So a couple of things here. Keep your video off and your microphones muted during the workshop. You can ask questions in the chat, and we will answer them throughout the presentation. And this presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the Google Classroom and the North Lucas High School website. We do have the sign-in sheet here. I've been putting the sign-in sheet up here, up in the chat here. I've been putting the sign-in sheet here if you guys can go to that and sign in, or you can click on this bit.ly here and sign in that way. So we're going to go over the CSU system and the application. We're going to go over entrance requirements, which is making sure that we know what A to G is and GPA needed, and testing requirements for the CSU system. We're also going to be reviewing the fee waiver eligibility, the 4 sections of the application itself, and avoiding common mistakes. And then we'll have additional resources and information. Okay? So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the CSU system, it's comprised of 23, I think I missed one, sorry guys. Oh no, okay, sorry. The CSU system is comprised of 23 different undergraduate universities all over California. You see these red dots here, it's a CSU in California, and each university is different in that it has different majors, expectations, and the environment. So we do recommend that when you research the CSU that you're applying to. We put some links in here. So like if you click here, it's going to give you the different campuses, which is the map we showed you here, right? And then if you click here, you could do virtual. So we know that you're not able to, go on a campus tour right now, get in the car and say, Mom, let's go to CSU Dominguez Hills. So you can go on that link and it brings you here. You choose the campus. So you select the campus you want to see and then you hit go. Okay, and that's how you can do a virtual tour there. So that's something that we thought would be useful. But we do highly recommend that you research the various CSUs that you're thinking of applying to. For example, if you want to study marine science, you wouldn't apply to like Humboldt State because they don't offer that major. Because they don't offer that major. So you would apply to most likely like CSUMB because it's closer to the ocean and marine science is available there. Okay. Okay, so these are the application dates and deadlines for the CSU system. For the fall 2022 term, you see here, it's priority opened October 1st through November 30th. So some of these other universities are extending their deadlines. So the hard deadlines are Fresno State, Fullerton, Long Beach, this column you see here. And then December 15th has been extended for these universities. And then these 4, East Bay, Humboldt State, Cal Maritime, and San Francisco State, these have extended their deadlines to later dates. So we also wanted to put this little blurb here for you guys. Extended application deadlines are subject to change. Okay, so this is what's in the CSU system right now, but they are subject to change. So make sure you do use your Cal State application dates and deadlines and look at the updates on those different CSUs. Okay, so CSU high school admission requirements. To be eligible for the CSU system, you need to have completed 15 courses and have received a C or better in each of these courses, which is history and social science, So that includes your 1 year of U.S. history, 1 semester of civics, government, and your 1 semester of economics. English, 4 years. We all are taking 4 years of English. Math, 3 years are recommended. 3 years are required, sorry, for graduation, but 4 years are recommended for the CSU system. 2 years for the laboratory science, which is your biological and physical science, or those that have, this class has taken NGS 1 and 2, right? Yeah. So that would satisfy the 2 years. Language other than English, make sure you get those 2 years and make sure it's the same language. And then the visual performing arts, 1 year, and then another additional year of a University of California A to G course right there. Okay. So as long as you make sure that you've taken your 15 courses and you receive a C or better, then you will be A to G. So the grade point average of those 15 courses in previous years was 2.0, but for fall 22 admission, the required GPA to be eligible for the CSU system is 2.5. Okay. The CSU testing requirements. This is really important because the CSU system has suspended the use of the ACT, SAT examinations in determining admission eligibility for all CSU campuses for the 21-22 school year. So that means that the CSU system is not looking at your ACT, SAT scores for admission. Okay. The temporary change of admission eligibility applies for the fall 2022, winter 2023, and spring 2023 admission cycles. And if we click here, we get more information regarding the ACT, SAT examination information that they have there. What they do tell us here, if you click here, it's basically the same verbiage that we put here, but it's really important that we know that if you are accepted to a CSU system, the ACT and SAT scores, if you submit them, they will be used to place you in the proper math or English course. So it's just going to be a course placement. They're just going to look at it for course placement, not for admissions, okay? If you guys have questions, make sure to ask them in the chat, and we'll be answering them as we're here speaking on. So what if I'm an undocumented student? So the CSU system has a non-resident tuition exemption, which is an AB 540, and it's available. So how do you access that document? You go here for the exemption form. But what this does, it's available so you don't pay higher fees. So you pay what's called an in-state tuition, which is, I think it's like double the amount if you don't fill this out. So if you're an undocumented student, make sure that you do fill this AB 540 paperwork. Make sure that you go to click here for the exemption form. And if we look at it, it's about 6 pages, but this gives us information about it. And then frequently asked questions. And then the application is right here, this one, and then this one. So make sure that you guys, click on these links when you see this presentation. Like I said, it's going to be on your Google Classroom, and it's going to be available on our website if you guys have questions. And then also make sure to reach out to us, your counselors, to receive support in completing this non-resident tuition exemption form. That's that on that. Freshman application checklist. So when you're ready to complete your application for the CSU system, these are the items you should have on hand. Your unofficial transcript, okay? That's your high school transcript and your college transcript, if applicable. So those that are doing dual enrollment, gosh, my mind went blank, concurrent enrollment. So make sure you have all your transcripts because you're going to need that to apply. You're also going to need your social security number. Make sure you have that. If you have them, have it with you. Your citizenship status, make sure you know what that is. Credit card or PayPal account, this is to pay for the application fees. You need to know your annual income, your parents, if you're a dependent. or your income if you're independent. We're gonna, this one start here, the educational program, work and extracurriculum participation information. This is start, and that's something that we'll go over in the presentation. And that has to do with EOP. These two are together. And then test scores optional. As I told you guys about the test scores, the SAT, ACT, that's optional. Before it was, you know, one of the requirements, but this is optional now. Remember that reporting the test scores is not required, but if you do, they will be used for placement. Okay, they will be used for placement into math and English courses. Okay, and then you're also going to want to know your California State Student ID. So this information here that I'm showing you guys, we're going to go over it step by step with you guys right now. So this is just kind of like a checklist. So when you go back to this presentation, you can look and say, okay, this is what I have, and this is what I need. Okay. So how do you apply for an application fee waiver? When you apply for an application fee waiver, in the information that it asks you, it's going to ask you for household income and then how many people are in the family, and based on what information you put in there, that's how you're considered for an application fee waiver, based on the information, okay, that you put in there. So the students that are eligible for the application fee waiver, you can apply for up to 4 CSU campuses on a waiver, okay? And you must fully complete the application. So sometimes students look and then they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm getting a fee waiver or not. But you have to wait until you complete your application, and then you go here to check my fee waiver status right here in yellow. You go to check my fee waiver status link, and then it will, once you click on that, it will tell you if you did or did not get a fee waiver, and then you would submit your application. But the fee for each application is $70. So here on this sample here, this student applied to 2 universities, so that's $140. Okay. Eligibility criteria for fee waivers. To be considered for the fee waiver, you must be an undergrad student, so first time freshman, California resident for more than 1 year, a U.S. citizen or someone without lawful immigration status who qualifies under the AB 540 non-resident tuition exemption. Applicants who are eligible for the application fee waiver, like I said, may apply for 4 CSU campuses per application term. And then approved waivers are not transferable to future or past application terms. Okay, and the CSU does not accept College Board fee waivers nor any other external waiver form. Okay, so it's only based on what they ask you in the application itself. Okay, there's no like a coupon code number or something like that to get a fee waiver. Okay, and again, like I said, please look at these links, visit the fee waiver page, and there's more information about that. Okay, and like I said, if you click on it, it pops open, and there it is. Okay. So mistakes to avoid. So the mistakes to avoid is be aware that the following common errors may cause an eligible application to not receive an application fee waiver. So sometimes students report themselves as independents, or if you report yourself a dependent with a family size of 1, if you report the same dollar amount in the adjusted gross income field as well in the untaxed income field. So adjusted gross is different from untaxed income field. So if you select none in the answer to what U.S. state possession do you regard as your permanent home? So if you select none, then that might, that's a mistake that you may not be eligible by clicking on the wrong box. Okay, so if you incorrectly report any of these items above, you will not be granted an application fee waiver. And then again, here's the links. The application fee waiver checklist is here for more guidance. So that's there for you guys. And then how do I complete my CSU application? So this is where you will, once you log in, you will begin to complete your CSU application. Like I said, you're going to go to Cal State Edu Apply, right? And then when you go there, you're going to select Fall 2022 in the drop-down menu. And this is how it's going to look exactly when you go to Cal State Edu Apply. Exactly, this is what you're going to go to this page, and then you're going to select here Fall 2022, and then you're going to hit Apply. And again, applications are open right here. We put again October 1st and close November 30th for the fall 2022 semesters. And then you know how I put those the deadline dates? This is the priority application date page that has those boxes at the beginning where it shows the extended the university, the CSUs that are extending their application periods past November 30th. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to go into creating your account. So then you go to create an account under sign in right here, and then you fill out the information, and then email address you should use. So you should use not your school email. That's very important. Please do not use your Salinas UHSD email. Please make sure that you use a personal email because the communication from the CSUs is mostly through the email. Okay, and then create your personal email address if you don't have one. Let me see. Check your email regularly. Yes, check your email regularly, and then create your account, and then you will get what's called a CASID number. So that CASID number, you're gonna have to please make sure that you know what it is. So it's like, you know, like right now, everybody knows what's your student ID number, right? So now it's a number you have to learn. So your CASID number is what's going to be whenever you call, if you have any questions or if anything to do with your fee waivers or anything to do with your CSU application, they're going to ask you for your CASID number. So this is something very important that you're going to have to, I don't know if you can memorize it, but you'll just have to have, okay? So that's that for starting. Here we go with Ms. Saldaña for the next part.
Once you are ready to start your application, you will, this application has 4 parts. And the first one that you are going to complete is going to be your personal information. And once you're done with that, you'll move on to the academic history, the supporting information, and then the last part that you will complete would be the program materials. Again, 4 parts. Keep in mind that once you are done with each part, the circle will turn green. Once the circle is all green, then that's an indication to you that you are done with that part and you are able to move on to the next part. In the personal information section, you will be required to indicate your statewide student ID number. And the way that you're going to get that number is you're going to take a look at your transcript, and your SSA ID number is located on the left-hand side, and it's under the State ID tab. So whatever number is listed here, that's the number that you are going to include for the SSID number that you're going to need to put on your application. In this section, you will also be asked regarding your sexual orientation. This is where you're going to put whether you're male, female, gender expression. You'll be asked regarding gender identity questions, but if you don't feel comfortable or you don't want to answer those questions, then it's optional. You could just move on to the next question. In this section as well, in the personal information, you will be completing your extended profile. And there's 3 major questions that you will need to answer. And the first one is, what degree, credential, certificate are you applying for? So all of you are or high school students, so you will be applying to your first bachelor degree. So you're going to go ahead and mark that one off. The second question that you will be asked is, which of the following best describes your current educational status? Again, all of you will be graduating from high school, so you will go ahead and mark the first one. Graduating high school senior. That's what you would mark off. And then the last question is, have you taken or earned any college credit? So if you have taken a concurrent enrollment class or a dual enrollment class, if you're taking classes in the summer, then you're going to go ahead and mark yes, that you have earned college credits, whether it was at Hartnell or whether it was at MPC. And if you haven't, then you would just mark no, that you have not completed any college credits. Once you're done with that, you're going to be asked to identify the name of the program that you will be listing on your college application. Program would be another way of saying, what is your major? So you will need to identify the program, the major that you plan to pursue, and you will also need to identify the college that you are planning to apply to. Once you have identified your major, and your major, you're going to go ahead and type it in here, right? And your university, you're going to go ahead and type it in here as well. So once you've identified the program and the university that you are applying to, that information will then be listed here. So for example, this particular student is applying to CSU Fullerton, and that's what you see here. You see CSU Fullerton. This is the program, the major that the student is applying to. This, you need to confirm that CSU Fullerton, this is the university that, yes, this is the university that you want to apply to. BS, meaning that the student is applying for a Bachelor of Science, so you also want to confirm that. And you also want to confirm that, yes, you are applying for fall 2022. So again, major, the college that you're applying to, the type of degree, the term, which is fall, and 2022. So you always want to make sure that this information is correct, because once you are done with your application and you submit your application, if you find an error after you submit it, you won't be able to go back and change your answer. So you want to make sure that you double check that this information is correct. Program selections, again, once you have selected your program, the major that you're planning to pursue, the university that you're planning to apply to, you want to make sure, again, that you review that the information is correct. So for example, this particular student is applying to CSU Bakersfield, and this is the program, the major that they're planning to, that they're applying to. So again, always double check that this information is correct and that the university is correct as well. In this particular part, the personal information, you will also be required to provide your current address. So you need to make sure that this should be where you want to receive your mail. So whatever address you want to use, you need to make sure that you will have access to that mail. And then, is your permanent address different than your current address? If so, select no, and then is this your permanent address? So again, always make sure that your mailing address is correct. So make sure that you do that, because again, this is how the CSU system will be communicating with you. So you want to make sure that your mailing address is correct. In this part, you will also be asked regarding citizenship and residency information. Keep in mind that the questions that you answer will not be used to determine your eligibility for admissions. This information will only be used for items like determining how much your tuition is going to be. So this is how the questions are going to look. They're going to ask you, what is your citizenship? So if you were born in the United States, then you are considered a U.S. citizen. If you have a green card, then you are going to state that you are a permanent U.S. resident. If you were not born in the United States and you do not have a green card, then you are going to put none. If you meet the criteria of refugee, forced to leave the country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster, you're going to indicate refugee. Or if you have an F1 or a J1 visa, you're going to put other visa. When in doubt, if you don't know which is the one that you need to select, then always we highly recommend that you reach out to your counselor so that they help you identify which one of these pertains to you. The other question that you will be asked regarding your citizenship is going to be, do you claim California as your residency? And the majority of you are going to say yes, right? Because you are currently living in California. The other question is, have you lived in California continuously since birth? The majority of you are going to say yes. And when you mark yes, then it is going to be it is then going to ask you, when did your present stay in when did you start living in California? And it is going to be the date that you were born. Okay. Again, if you have any questions regarding whether California is your residency or you're not sure how to answer this question, then definitely make sure that you reach out to your counselor so that they help you answer the question correctly. But again, the majority of you are going to put yes, that California is your residency. In this part, you will also be answering questions regarding race and ethnicity. Again, this section will not be used to determine eligibility for admissions. This information may be used to help provide you with additional support. You will also be asked questions regarding your parents. You will be asked if you are a dependent, and the majority of you are considered a dependent student, given that you're not married, given that you do not have a child. So the majority of you will be a dependent student. If you are considered independent, you can opt out of this section if you wish. But again, the majority of all of our students will be dependent students, given that you're not married and that you don't have a child of your own. Other information, you will be required to provide your Social Security number. So make sure that you carefully type in your Social Security number onto your application. Incorrect or missing information might delay your admission to the school. We do have a couple of students that are DACA students. So enter your Social Security number if you qualified for DACA, and DACA has provided you with a Social Security number. So yes, if DACA provided you with a Social Security number, that's the number that you will be entering on your college application. And we do have a couple of students that don't have a Social Security number. So if you don't have a Social Security number, you're just going to go ahead and input zeros, and you're going to list it the way that it's listed here. Financial and parental information. Again, this information is not going to be used to determine your financial aid eligibility. It is used for informational purposes only. So make sure that you read you read the questions carefully and that you answer them. Again, if you're not sure how to report your household income or the size information, make sure that you reach out to your counselor. You will need to just make sure that you answer those questions. And if you need help, make sure that you reach out to your counselor. The second part is your academic history. And so with your academic history, you will need to identify all of the high schools that you have attended throughout your high school lifetime. So the majority of you have assisted North Salinas High School, so that's going to be one of the schools that you identified as having attended. If you attended LSL High or Everett Alvarez or another high school, you will also need to report that you attended a different high school. So you need to make sure that you always add all of the high schools that you've attended, and you're going to click here and you'll identify all of the high schools that you've attended. It's going to ask you, when did you attend that particular high school? So you're going to take a look at your transcript, and your transcript is going to indicate the years that you were at a particular school. So if North Salinas High School is the only school that you've attended, then you're going to indicate that you started August 2018, and the plan would be that you would end May 2022. It's also going to ask you the term type. And so the majority of all of the schools in Salinas follow a semester type. So you would include semester here. Okay, so make sure again that you identify all of the schools that you've attended. And so term type, again, you're going to need to select the term for that particular school. And again, the majority of the schools follow a semester type. High school attendance, again, this is how it's going to look. Once you've identified all of the schools that you've attended, the name of the school is going to come up here. You're going to indicate the dates that you were at that particular school, and you are going to indicate that it is a semester school. Once you've done this, you're going to go ahead and save the school. It will then take you to this. You're going to need to report your graduation status. So all of you will select, I have or will graduate with my high school diploma. And this is the date that you're going to put on your college application. This is your expected date of graduation. In the beginning of the application, you were asked that one question if you have completed college credit, and if you answered yes, then it's going to take you here, colleges attended. So if you've completed college work, then you will need to report the university. You will need to identify the college that you have previously attended. Again, this section will only appear if you indicated earlier that you have completed one or more courses at a college or university. So you will click here, at a college or university. The majority of our students have attended either NPC or Hartnell College, so you would identify your community college. Again, colleges attended, you will go ahead and type in Hartnell College, NPC, and the name of the college is going to pop up. You're going to state that it is by semester, again, because the majority of our community colleges in California are by semester. So you would indicate that it is a semester college. High school coursework. So again, once you have identified all of the high schools that you've attended, you are then going to list all of the coursework, all of the A through G courses that you have completed throughout your high school lifetime. So again, All high school courses used to satisfy the A through G requirements will be listed on your high school coursework. Please do not include, you do not need to include PE. PE is not an A through G course, so you will not be listing the PE class on your college application. Please also keep in mind that the following courses should not be listed as honors or AP. Once you begin your coursework, it is going to ask you to identify all of the classes that are considered honors and all of the classes that are considered AP. Please keep in mind that Math 1 Advanced is not considered an honors class. Math 2 or 3 honors or Math 2 plus or Math 3 plus, they're not considered honors class, so you are not going to list them as honors courses. English 9, English 10 GATE, or English 9 plus, English 9, 10 plus are not honors courses. So keep that in mind. You do not list them as an honors course. Now, some of you did attend Bolsa Middle School, and Bolsa Middle School does offer foreign languages. So some of you perhaps completed a Spanish course or a Japanese course at Bolsa Middle School, or maybe Gavilan Middle School. Then you are able to report those foreign language courses as part of your high school coursework. So you would just need to identify that you took these courses in 8th, 7th, or possibly 6th grade. So again, once you start completing your high school coursework, you are going to list all of your A through G courses that you completed for each grade level. So for example, 9th grade, you're going to start off with your 9th grade because that's the first year of high school, right? And in 9th grade, you're going to click here and you are going to list all of your A through G courses. If you happen to take a course over the summer, then you're going to add summer grade level here. You're going to click here. But again, for 9th grade, you're going to start off with 9th grade. And you're going to include all of the classes that you completed for 9th grade. Once you're done with that, you're going to click on the green check mark so that you know that you're done with the 9th grade year. So this is how it would look once you select 9th grade. It's going to show up like this. It's going to state that you are currently working on 9th grade. It's letting you know that this is the school that you are going to be reporting on. It would, for the majority of you, it's going to read North Salinas High School and the year that you were in 9th grade. So make sure that you verify that you are inputting the correct classes for the grade level that you are going to input. So on the left-hand side, you're going to put, again, you can identify the class that you are going to input. So for this particular student, they are going to start with their English class. They're going to go ahead and type in the name of the course, right? And then all of the courses that are available at North High are going to appear here. So you're going to identify English 9, right? Since we're doing 9th grade level, you are going to identify, you're going to select the English 9 class that you completed in 9th grade. Keep in mind that you will have your transcript with you at the time that you complete this application. So go ahead and take a look at your transcript to see the title of the English class that you completed in 9th grade. If your course was not an AB, IB, or honors course, then you're going to select none. You're going to enter your grades for first semester, and first semester is going to be fall. You're going to enter your second semester, and that's going to be spring. Continue to add all of the courses for this grade level, and then once you're done, you're going to go ahead and click on the green check mark. Save and continue. Once you save and continue, you are then going to start on your 10th grade coursework. You're going to be done with that, and then you'll move on to your 11th grade coursework. You'll be done with that, save and continue, and then you'll move on to 12th grade level. Now with the 12th grade, you need to make sure that you list all of the courses that you are currently enrolled in, and given that the fall semester has not ended, you are going to indicate that you are in progress. You are currently taking the classes for fall, and you will indicate that they are in progress. So fall for senior year is going to read in progress because you don't have a grade. You will in December, but for fall, all of them are going to be in progress. For spring, this is where you are going to indicate the classes that you are planning to take. Okay, so you're going to indicate that you are planning to take the following courses for spring second semester. Once you're done with inputting your senior courses, save and continue, and you're going to move on to your college coursework. Again, if you've never completed, if you did not indicate that you took a college class, then this is not going to appear. This is only going to appear for someone who has completed courses at the college level. You will do the same, right? You will go ahead, for this particular student, he went to Long Beach, but for you guys, most likely it will be Hartnell College or MPC, and you will do the same. You will, you're going to click Edit. Remember, so Hartnell College should appear here because all of the colleges that you listed come from what you indicated earlier in the colleges attended. So Hartnell College or MPC, whatever college you went to, is going to appear here, and you're going to click on Edit. So once you click on Edit, you are then going to add the name of the course that you completed, and you are going to report the grade that you got for that specific class. Some of you, please note that some of you did take maybe Counseling 1 here at North High, but you are not going to include your Hartnell courses that you took at North High. You're going to include them on your college coursework, and you want to make sure that you include them under your college coursework, because if you include them on your college coursework, you're going to get that extra point for your GPA. So very important. I know that there are a number of students that completed Counseling 1 at North High, but you're going to include that class under your college coursework so that you get that extra point added onto your GPA. If you have any questions regarding where you need to input these classes, make sure that you check in with your counselor. So once you're done with inputting your college coursework and your high school coursework, you are then going to be reviewing your A through G subject totals. So this is somewhat tricky. So we want to make sure that you are completing this correctly, because sometimes in the matter that you include your coursework, sometimes it doesn't give you the appropriate A through G subject totals. So let me review this with you. So once you're done with your high school coursework and you're done with your college coursework, you're going to get the A through G subject totals. So One of the A through G requirements is that you complete history, and for A through G purposes, you need to complete 2 years of history. So that means that when you completed your high school coursework, it needs to state that you actually completed 2 years of history. So once you're done with your high school coursework, it's going to state right here that you've already completed the 2 years, right? Because you reported on your high school coursework that you completed 2 years of history. So it should read that you have completed 2 years. Sometimes it's not going to read 2 years, therefore you need to speak with your counselor so that your counselor is able to review how you inputted your high school coursework. So for A through G purposes, history, you're required to complete 2 years. So the years box, it's going to be blank, but once you're done inputting your coursework, it needs to state that you completed 2 years, because that's how you would be meeting that specific A through G subject requirement. So again, whatever number is in the parentheses is the same number that you should have here. It could be it needs to be at least 2 years. Some of you, it might be 3 years, it might be 4 years. It just really depends the number of courses that you've completed. But it needs to at least be 2 years, because again, the A through G requirement is that you need to have 2 years of history. Therefore, you need to have 2 years completed in history. If you are missing years for the A through G years column right here, it is imperative that you connect with your counselor. Don't attempt to figure it out alone. You need to check in with your counselor. Again, we don't, the ACT, SAT is not a requirement. It will, if you've completed the ACT or SAT, yes, you are able to report your scores. But if you haven't done it, then don't worry about it. You don't need to report. If you did take those exams, then make sure that you do input them, because it will help the universities place you in the correct math and English class.
So this section is part 3 of the application, and this is supporting information. So in this section, this is where you're going to be answering questions regarding any educational programs that you participated in during high school, such as AVID or Upward Bound. Or it may be different depending on whether or not you attended a different high school. And any work or employment history, any extracurricular activities or community service, as well as the educational opportunity program application. That is also a part of this section of the application. And everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so in this section of the application of supporting information, these responses that you indicate here will be used as supplemental criteria to make the fall 2022 admissions decisions. So you can select on your application yes or no to indicate your involvement in any programs that are listed. You're going to see a drop-down menu, and there's going to be a number of different programs. If you participate in a program that's not listed on the application, you can go ahead and select other, okay? If you worked during the past 12 months, go ahead and type in the average number of hours that you worked per week, okay? So it doesn't have to be exact. Go ahead and enter the average number of hours. And that also goes for any extracurricular activities that you participated in during the last 12 months. So you're going to go ahead and type in the average number of hours per week, okay? So it'll require a little bit of math, but again, it doesn't have to be 100% exact. So in this section of the application, you're also going to be completing the, you may or may not be completing the CSU Educational Opportunity Program application, which is known as EOP. And EOP, you can see here at the bottom that it provides admission, academic, and financial assistance to students. EOP participants receive ongoing advising, tutoring, mentoring, and workshops, and they're all designed to increase retention and graduation rates at the university. So this is designed to help low-income, first-generation, historically educationally disadvantaged students succeed in college and graduate. And what does the first-generation student, what does that mean? So specifically, it means that neither of your parents completed a college degree. Okay. There's also some EOP family income criteria, and I will give you. Towards the end, I'll share with you a few links under our additional sources webpage or page where you can find what that criteria is, okay? The EOP application obviously is built into the Cal State application because it's part of this third section of the application. You can submit the Cal State Apply application without the EOP portion complete and come back to it. Okay, so that's important to note. It's also important to note that the EOP portion has a separate deadline that varies by campus. Okay, so that's really important. There is more deadline information on this link here, which is currently not updated, but it will be working shortly. For the most part, I advise my students to complete their EOP application by November 30th, since that's really the deadline for most of the Cal State universities application deadline. So just to be on the safe side, complete it by then, but you just know that there are separate deadlines and they vary by campus. Materials that you'll need to apply for the EOP. So you will need 2 letters or 2 recommendations that are required to apply. One must be from either an academic counselor or a teacher that can comment on your academic preparedness for university and academic work. So it could be either a counselor or a teacher. The second recommendation must be from an individual who can comment about your potential to succeed in college. And recommenders cannot be yourselves, obviously, or family members, okay? So that's really important to note. And you must include their names, their full names, and email addresses on the application, because then they will get a link to complete the recommendation. So this is not necessarily a letter that you're asking for, it's a recommendation. And so it's important to also, if you're indicating, for instance, if you're my student and you're indicating me as one of your recommenders, as a courtesy, it's nice to send an email to whoever that person is to let them know that you've indicated their name and information as a recommender for EOP, okay? But they will also get an email so long as you enter their email address correctly, so that's really, really important, okay? So enter their names and email addresses correctly if you are applying for EOP. So on the application in this section, you're going to indicate if you will apply to EOP. So you will have 3 different options, and this is what it looks like, okay? So do you wish to apply to the EOP program? It's either gonna be yes, and you can complete the application then, or yes, and I will return later to complete these EOP questions, or you can select no, okay? And once you select no, then you're done with that piece of the application, or that section 3 of the application. And here we just have a little note as a reminder to see the EOP application prep worksheet. There's actually a worksheet that helps you fill out this section, or the EOP questions, and also will help you determine eligibility based on that family income criteria. An overview of the EOP application. So in the EOP application itself, for those of you that are applying, you will see 4 different sections. Section 1 will be the general questions. Section 2 will be parent guardian information and financial status. Section 3 will be an EOP biographical questions. And section 4 will be the contact information for the 2 people who will complete your recommendation. Okay, So again, you're not asking these particular individuals to write you a letter of recommendation. They are going to complete a recommendation online for you. Okay, and this is what it'll look like here. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then the last part is program materials, and this is the very last piece of the application. And again, this is an example of someone who is halfway done with this particular section of the application, because once they are 100% done, then the entire circle will be green. Okay, so it's really important not to skip this part of the application. Be sure to click on and read the program materials. So this is an example of what it'll look like. So depending on the campus and the major or the program that you're choosing, there may be required items, additional required items to complete. So check for multiple tabs, okay? Some campuses also require additional information for impacted campuses. So this is really, really important to make sure that you complete this section. Once you have read through and responded to anything in this program material section, you can exit back to My Application on the top left. And so here's an example of what the application looks like. So here's your home. And then the questions are here on the second tab. So don't miss it. Okay, make sure that you click on these questions and respond to them if they are there. Okay. So your application, you must complete all of the sections of the application before you submit, with the exception of section 3, supporting information as it relates to the EOP program application. So that's the only piece that, remember, you can go back to and continue later. But here's an example of what you'll see when you log in. So if you're done, then it'll show the green circles, right? And this shows that the supporting information and program materials is 100% complete. And then here it shows that personal information is almost halfway done, and academic history is almost halfway done, but not completed as of yet. Okay, so that's really important. So once you see all green, that's when they're 100% complete. Before you hit submit, even though everything's 100% complete, you want to make sure that you review your application. Okay, so before submitting, there's a couple things you want to do. So check the total fees and the number of applications ready to submit. Okay, so you'll see that here. This screenshot is a little light, but if you come back to this slide, you'll be able to zoom in and be able to see it a little bit better. But this is what it'll look like. Reminder, there's no changes after submission besides the EOP application and any new test scores. So you won't be able to edit like your high school coursework, for example. If you made a mistake, you can't go back and edit that information once you submit the application, okay? There are very few exceptions to what you could make changes to once you submit. And again, it's really these two things, the EOP application piece and the new test scores. We want you to make sure to review the summary page carefully. So make sure that you review that summary page really carefully. Go through it, a couple times before submitting. No any warning pages. So it's this symbol here, and you can barely see it here. It's pretty small, but you'll see those warning messages, okay? And any red text. So you want to make sure that you don't have any red text, and go back to that and clean that up and make the appropriate changes. So update and fix any missing or problematic information before processing to submit your application, okay? And then when you're ready to click submit, be sure to check your personal email regularly. So once you've already submitted, so for example, here the student is ready, they're gonna go ahead and hit submit. Make sure that you're checking your email consistently for updates on your application, okay? And here we indicated your personal email because we want to make sure that you're entering, you're using your personal email for anything college related, including scholarships, just because shortly after graduation, you will no longer have access to your SUHSD student account and you won't have access to that email. So make sure that you're using your personal email and you're checking it regularly for any updates. You can log back into your Cal State Apply application after submitting it, so you can go back to it and review it. But at that point, you're really not going to be able to make any changes, but you have access to it and some of the information on there. Okay. So we presented this information to you to help guide you through that application process and through all of the different sections of the application. In addition to today, we're also going to be holding in-person college and financial aid application workshops starting October 27th. So starting next week, I believe that's next Wednesday, we will be holding college and financial aid applications. So if you want additional assistance with your CSU, your UC, or your Hartnell application, or your financial aid application or scholarships, please join us. Come in, bring your Chromebook, make sure that it's charged, and come in and join us. It's going to be in the library from 3:15 to 4:30. And so it's on a walk-in basis, so you don't have to be there the entire time. You can come in at 3:15, take care of whatever it is that you need help with, and then go ahead and sign out, okay? So this is in person, and so this is to help you with anything college and financial aid related or scholarship related, okay? And remember that if you're gonna be working on your college application, you wanna make sure that you have a copy of your unofficial transcript, and you can pick a copy up of your unofficial transcript with our counseling department secretary or our registrar. They can provide you with an unofficial transcript. If you're completing your financial aid application, make sure that you have your financial aid materials checklist. This will also be posted on our website, so you'll be able to have that with you. And then any account logins and passwords, okay? So make sure that you're ready to get to work, and we're gonna be there, at least 2 to 3 counselors will be there to help support you in this process. So you don't have to schedule a separate appointment with your counselor. You can do this during this designated time. And the first workshop again is 10/27, and then we'll have 3 in November as well, okay? Additional resources, so this is super helpful. Again, you're gonna have access to this presentation, so you'll be able to click on the link, so you don't need to take a screenshot or you don't need to take a picture because you won't be able to click on the links, right? So freshman application guide, this is a PDF file that really kind of walks you through every step of the application, just kind of like we did. And it's actually in a little bit more detail. It's 56 pages long. You, of course, don't have to print it, but if you have questions about a specific area or a specific section, you can check this guide, and it's specifically for incoming freshmen, so for students like you, okay? So lots of great information there. There's also the Cal State Apply Applicant Help Center, and so there is this section here where there's a lot of different, the freshman application guide is on there too, on there as well. Any college or dual enrollment coursework guidance, if you're not sure as to how to incorporate that information, there's some guidance there. So there's quite a bit of information, and there's a phone number, a helpline that you can also call, and it's sort of hidden because you have to click on several links to access it, right? So it's right here. But just to make it easier on you, I put that number here. Oops, I went too fast, sorry. Okay, so that's this number here, and we actually call it all the time, and they're super helpful. So if you get stuck on any part of your application or have a question, they actually answer pretty quickly, and I believe they're open on Saturdays as well. So this is a really helpful resource, okay, when you're completing that application. Then there's a Cal State Apply. So here's more information on choosing. This link takes you to a lot of other resources and links. So you get to see priority deadlines, choosing a campus, a degree, paying for college. So there's a lot of information there. Then there is the EOP program link where you can get more information on that EOP program. The EOP program worksheet is on here as well. So that's another 6-page document that can kind of guide you through that EOP application. And it's also linked here. So here's the direct link. And then I also indicated the counseling webpage because this is where you will find the presentation and the slides that we just presented, okay? So if you go over to counseling presentations, you will see that the 9th and the 12th grade classroom presentations have already been posted, and then this one will be posted here as well. So this is where you'll be able to access this particular presentation, okay? So thank you all so much for joining us. Now, this concludes our presentation, and let us know at this time if there are any questions that we could answer for you. Thank you so much, and just remember to log to sign in to if you have not completed the sign-in form, go ahead and sign that in, and let us know if this was helpful to you guys. Was this presentation helpful?
Yes, let us know in the chat. Thank you.
And thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And have a great rest of your day.